recap video for the day to show how you could play the markets. I do want to show out before I get into we could have done day trading that if you are looking to, if you have been swinging or playing the SPY swing trading, that we are about to get back up to 260, and that is a very, very big level that I just do not expect us to break right into. So if you want to look for a bounce off of 260, if we do manage to get up to it, I would definitely expect us to at least have some trouble initially getting past 260, and then once we get above that, right around 262. Anyway, that's more of a bigger picture thing. You could probably even swing off of those if you wanted to swing trade options. I haven't done it really at all because it is difficult in this market, but that'd probably be one you could swing trade. Start small if you're not sure about it, and due to the conditions, I would definitely be careful. Just don't put in a ton. So anyway, if you go back to the day, like coming right out of the gate, it is pretty hard to really notice a whole lot. I mean, of course, you are looking to see if you're going to have this gap fill, and eventually you do have the gap fill happen, but it is hard to kind of tell initially. I didn't really notice that we were about to have, I didn't get in puts, I don't believe, yeah, until that broke. So just the lowest point on that candle, and you can kind of see right here, that's a point from where we had a pretty significant sell-off go down that day, and so I was looking for that to break. I just looked back at that level to find that. You can be in puts for the gap fill, and luckily I did actually hold on a little bit past the gap fill and get out almost at the optimal level, but that's just because an order didn't execute fast. I was looking to get out right when the gap did fill. And then we had just, like a V shape, a pretty strong reversal. And so I believe I got in calls about right when it got above the gap. And then you're going to hold, and no real sign of selling at all until you get up here. And then this is where I think you can tell starting to get a little bit iffy at this level. And yeah, like right there. 257.28. And so we just had it bounced off of it once. And that level's, it's about a cent from it there. It's about a cent from it there. And from back here, you have that wick right there. That's some of the places that level comes from and how you're able to spot it ahead of time. But anyways, it bounces off of that, 1 times, 2 times, 3 times. Then it goes up. And then you kind of have it test over the top of these candles. About the same thing. 1 time, 2 time, 3 time. And you get another leg up. And then body of those candles pretty much tested where the top of this candle is, almost. And so you kind of have that, well, about right there. I guess that one wasn't as obvious, but still right around that level, not quite exactly at the cent. Then you had another leg up, and then you start to get lower highs, and so the trend's a little bit reversing. I have to admit, that's where, once you start to see the lower highs, that's where I would have got out of calls, and it wouldn't have been obvious for me that you would have been able to play puts. You can see right there one of the main patterns that I talk about for a possible reversal is about to happen. Then you have the inverse of that up here. And you have the inverse of that again right there. And it comes down. The body of the candle stayed right there, but the wicks come down and test it. That level that we were talking about earlier, 257.28. And so to me, when it tested 257.28, that's when I would have got in calls looking for a bounce. I probably wouldn't have spotted the puts right here and been able to profit off of that. But the calls to me were more obvious off of that. And calls again later when we bounced off that level. You can kind of tell right up there we were having a lot of trouble breaking above right here. Only for a couple seconds, maybe right there. The 258.54. couldn't quite get above that. And so I guess you could tell that was going to happen. But me, I just played the calls, bounce off of that level and that level. And the reason that this level is so significant, and you can tell it's probably going to be played a lot intraday, is because if you go to the 1 minute, you can just tell, huge selling right here, it bounced off, and then probably shorts really jumped in and hit that hard right there, and it sold off again. That was kind of a high point from the other day before there was a big sell-off, exact same area, and then it just, once it broke back above it, tested it, so buyers are coming in, and then tested it, buyers came in, tested again, buyers came in. So to me, almost the reason it's significant is because since there was so much selling that came so fast when it broke below it, when it breaks above it, that is very significant. You can see a little bit of a volume spike right there is needed for it to break above it. But that makes it more significant. That means that really a lot of buyers had to jump in, and so since it was a strong resistance line, once it breaks above it, it will therefore probably be a very strong support line. And that was probably one of the most significant lines that you could have played throughout the day. I mean, really, if you just play, that line and the gap fill, you would have made a lot of money throughout the day. You have that line when it breaks, gap fill down, at the reverse from the gap fill, and you could have got out there if you weren't sure. And then once it tested it so many times right here, it's a good sign you could probably get in calls. It goes up, you got plenty of time to recognize a downtrend and get out with these lower highs right there. And then throughout this, then you have this sell-off, and it comes back down, test the level again, almost test it right there, not quite to a cent, but pretty close, and so you have another chance to jump in and buy, and then the same thing right there. So I mean, really, the only two levels you needed to make most of the plays and be profitable throughout the day, I think, were those two levels right there. And I wanted to say also real quick, I believe in the chat that I'm in that someone else alerted. I didn't do this, but what was it? DLPH. Yeah, I think I took a look at this. Now, I don't know if there's any news with this or anything. I'm just looking at it from a technical standpoint, but I do have to admit that I just took a look at this, and you can kind of tell that this thing seems as though it may have put in a bottom. And so I noticed that the calls, I think, are for 20, and 20 looks like it would be a significant price point, but I mean, this thing does look like it has a reversal, a good bit of bullish momentum coming in. You can see the volume's going up a little bit right there, and so I have to say that looks like a good play too. But anyway, that's most of the plays you could have made throughout the day and what happened with the markets. If that helps some of y'all, and as always, if you have any questions, just let me know.